Hello there, and welcome to the last Existential Sunday of 2020. If you're watching this later on, which most of you do, hello to all of you. If we don't know each other, my name is Corey. I'm a husband, father, speaker, writer, podcaster. And every week we do this broadcast called Existential Sunday right here on my Facebook page and on the YouTube page and also on Instagram. So welcome to all of you who are watching later on. I'm going to take a few moments to say good morning to all of you who are live. Good morning, Brian. Good morning, Sherry. Please, guys, say hi in the comments so I know you're here. And then I'll come back later for some of you who say hi later. Even if you're on the replay and you say hello, I'll say hello. Joanne, good morning. Good morning, babe. I just saw you. Good morning, Sherry. Good morning, Tom. I'm going to say a couple more good mornings and then I'll be done with the good mornings. Good morning. Hi, Meg. Also, good morning, Meg. And today is, what's up, Stephen? Megan, Tabitha. Today is our youngest daughter's 15th birthday. She just birthday. They always make fun of the way I say birthday because I don't enunciate the th in birthday. I say birth. I don't know, however I said it is how I normally say it. But good morning to all of you. I'm actually not going to be here very long at all today. One of the things that I love about Existential Sunday, which, by the way, for those of you who are new to Existential Sunday, if you're watching this either by replay or live, one of the things that I really appreciate about this space is it is a space for deconstructing. It's a space for, especially anybody with like a religious background, like if you've been a part of church before or you've been a part of like some sort of religious community that was pretty rigid in terms of how they function, what they allowed you to question, all those sorts of things. I appreciate about this space that this is absolutely the complete opposite of that. I used to work at churches for a long, long time. And there's a culture that is very like driven. And I'm not saying that this is not me being critical of churches. At least I don't think so. Not yet anyway. It is a culture of like drive, go, especially around this time of year. And actually yesterday, someone asked me if I missed the whole like Christmas production thing, to which I said, absolutely not. There's not any portion of me that in any way misses like that whole, it's Christmas time, we got to put a big production on, and I don't miss that at all. In fact, I have friends that are still in that space, and God bless them. Like what they're doing is awesome. I just I don't miss it at all. And which means what I want to tell you now, my stomach hurts so bad right now. Like I almost told y'all we're not doing Existential Sunday today. But I honestly only came on because it's the last one of 2020. And I didn't want to like not do one more. I didn't want to tell you guys today, hey, we're not doing it. And then you won't see me again till 2021. And I won't see you again virtually anyway till 2021. So I am here with a stomach ache, not because I feel like I can never not do Existential Sunday. It's the beauty of the deconstruction is we can do whatever the hell we want. As long as it doesn't harm somebody else. So anyway, that's what today is. My stomach is hurting so bad. I could barely get my thoughts together this morning to what I wanted to share with you. So they're actually partially together now. Okay. So what comes out from here on out, if it's great, we will attribute it to a divine presence that has something really special in store for all of us, right? That the Creator just wants to get a message to you, one more message to you who are watching Existential. If it's great, if it sucks, it's simply because my stomach really, really hurts. And if I go darting off the camera, you know why. All right. What did I call this? What did I call this one? I called this the Baby Black Jesus. Yeah, Baby Black Jesus. Yeah. So I received this in the mail. No, not that. I received this in the mail. I am so grateful for like the Patreon community and folks that have volunteered their time, their resources folks that have seen, the work that I'm doing through writing and podcasting and Existential Sunday, and they've said, yes, we want to continue for a better world with you. And one of the ways that in 2020 people decided to help was our good friend Tabitha, who reached out to me early 2020, actually almost a year ago now, actually before we went into 2020, and she said, "I want to help you," and I said, "I don't even know how to have you help me. Like I'm that scattered. I don't know how to help. I don't know how to have you help me." But she, for the last year, has done scheduling and calendaring and like a bunch of admin stuff. And Tabitha sent me this Black Madonna because she remembered a post that I posted last year. So Tabitha, if you're watching, I got it. She didn't think I was going to get it before Christmas. We got it. Came in the mail yesterday. I was so excited, and I was like, I'm putting it up in Existential Sunday tomorrow. And here's what this triggered for me, right? Last year, I became aware of Black Madonnas. I still don't really know that much about them, but last year I decided I wanted to post a picture of Mary and Jesus that looked like me. Well, not exactly like me, but that was a Black Mary and a Black Jesus. And it was the most beautiful picture of this. It was like a bald Black woman with a Black baby that she was nursing. And I said, "Mary, did you know?" was the caption. And I was really interested to see the responses. There were there was a lot of, yes, awesome, great, that's so cool. But there were also these like offended posts. People were legitimately offended that I shared the image of Mary being Black, which I thought was really interesting because I've grown up in church for most of my life and seen a whole lot of nativity scenes. And the majority of the nativity scenes that I've seen in my life have depicted Mary, Joseph, the shepherds, wise men, all of them with light skin. They've all been white. They've not been Palestinian, Jewish, Persian. They were all white. Just about every time I've seen depictions, like if there's a drama, a play, a skit, whatever done during the Christmas season, what I see is a merry band of white people depicting Mary and Joseph and Jesus and the shepherds. I mean, hell, even the animals are white, So like, I was just kind of shocked, like to see the pushback. And the thought I had last year about this was like a couple thoughts. First off was the incredible reach of white supremacy. I mean, that is sort of white supremacy 101. That is like the prototypical, like that's the essence of white supremacy, is that we don't mind that we depict Jewish people as white, but we are mad if you depict Jewish people as Black. And I think that the reason why these sort of images resonate with me is because there's something around this time of year for all of us with Christmas, the holiday season, that is transcendent. There's something about this, like the idea of hope and joy. And like, though there's really, really awful things happening in the world, there can also be really, really good things happening in the world that resonates with all of us, regardless of what our culture or ethnicity is. And I think that these sorts of images allow for people who haven't necessarily always had the opportunity to see themselves with dignity and pride and as a part at the center of the story. If you're Black and brown in the United States, you very rarely get to see, if ever, yourself at the center of the story. maybe part of the reason why, I've said this before, Black Panther was such a global phenomenon, because it was the first time we had seen such an epic depiction of Black excellence. And when we see Black excellence depicted, I think there's something very divine about that, because the underdog in the story, the one that like is pushed to the side, is why we love Cinderella, right? Wasn't Cinderella not invited to the ball, but she got to go because of, I don't remember how Cinderella went. I just remember a glass slipper, and I remember she was cleaning, and somehow she wound up being the star of the show. We love those stories. We love David and Goliath. We love Rudy. We love these stories where like people who should not win, who should not be centered, who should not be brought to the forefront as the hero. We love those stories. And in this picture, every time you see a picture of Mary as Black and Jesus, the baby born in a manger, as an African dark-skinned Black person, you are seeing the story of God. I would argue even more so than when you see a European depiction. Because when the conquerors depict Jesus, the conquerors are depicting Jesus through the lens of conquering. But the story of Jesus is not about conquering. The story of Jesus is about lifting up those who have been conquered. So when we get a chance to see the conquered rise, be centered, be placed as the object of, yeah, look at this, observe this, take this in, believe in this, hold this, I think we're taking a look at something very, very divine, supremely divine. Last thing, well, two more things, then I'm going to be done. That's because I don't have a whole lot to say. I just wanted to see you guys, because the last time I'll be able to say anything to you in 2020. And I do say that in such a dramatic way, because I am full of drama. I know that was very drama. This is the last time, guys, the last time in 2020. But, you know, earlier this week, I wrote a piece that was critical. Yes, it was absolutely critical. It was a critique of the centering of whiteness. Absolutely. No question about it. It was not a critique of Beth Moore, to be clear. Some folks took that as a critique of Beth Moore. If you have not read the piece that I wrote, it is on my wall. You can go check it out. It was not a piece that was critical of Beth Moore, but it was critical of this sort of, again, supremacy, the same white supremacy that would see a depiction of Jesus as Black, as Mary, of Mary as Black, and go, what? That's not, what do you, that would be offended by that. That same white supremacy will take something that a white celebrity pastor leader says and treat it like it's groundbreaking and epic. Let me tell you a little bit of the backstory behind why I wrote what I wrote. I woke up that morning when I wrote that. I woke up super early, couldn't sleep. And I saw this Relevant magazine article, and I saw the title of it. And the title was talking about how what Beth Moore said was a watershed moment. Now, to be fair, I understand that part of how you know that the movement for Black lives is advancing throughout the world is when we start to see more and more white evangelical people saying things or making stances. That is important, and that is something that we hope for. So not saying that white people should not stand up and declare that Black Lives Matter or whatever, or any of those things. My critique was that it seemed to me that once Beth Moore made this declaration, which seems like it may have been the first time she made a declaration about Trump. I could be wrong about that, because if this was the second, third, fourth time she made a declaration about Trumpism, I'm not sure why it became such a big deal. So to me, all indications are this is the first time she's made this very public declaration of anti-Trumpism and seeing like how much what the effect that has had on Christianity in people's lives. And I just, I saw that and I was rubbed the wrong way, because I know that I know 4 years ago, many of my friends and colleagues were going, this is a problem. That this marriage, this courting of white supremacist rhetoric coming from the White House, married to the Christian faith, is gross. It's ugly. It's like if any of your friends like were to, if you had friends that like got engaged to someone and and you knew, like you just saw it and were like, hey, I know you love her, and I know you love him, but like this, I don't think this is going to work. I don't think this is a good match. And people were saying that 4 years ago, especially Black and brown folks, and continued to say that. And as I said in the article, people who were out front making those sorts of statements took all of the bullets of getting fired, losing resources, losing opportunities to speak, losing some credibility in public space. And like these folks were, Colin Kaepernick, for one of those, were on the right side of history 4 years ago. And then what I chafe at is this idea that like now when someone white makes the same statement after all of the smoke settles, right? After it's no longer taboo to say it. When people have plowed the way so that now you can say Black Lives Matter, and it's still a problem for some people, but it's not as much of a deal as it was 4 years ago. So as a person who was making statements that cost me 4 years ago to see the celebration of a white woman who said something that is no longer as courageous as people were seemingly making it out to be, yeah, that was a little triggering for me. And y'all can take it for what it's worth. I mean, sometimes, here's something that's maybe you guys don't know. I don't think this is a secret. I don't expect you to agree with everything I say or write or post or share. But this particular instance for me, I was letting you know how I felt about it. You don't have to agree with how I feel, but that was a triggering moment for any person who made a stand 4 years ago. In fact, just this morning, I started reading Cast by Isabel Wilkerson, and it's amazing. And I came across this story that she tells. I should have brought the book down so I could read it word for word, because I'm definitely going to butcher this. But in essence, there's this picture of all of these people in Germany during the Third Reich, and they all have their Hail Hitler hands raised high. But in this very epic, famous picture, you see this one person, this one guy who, I forgot his name, this one person in this picture who does not have his hand raised. In fact, his arms are folded. And then as the story goes, we found out more about this man, after this picture. This guy was married to, or he was in love with a Jewish woman. And he, in the moment that he decided to go against the grain, probably wasn't doing it for any sort of accolades. He wasn't doing it because it was trendy. He wasn't doing it because it was safe. He was doing it because there was love in his heart for people, genuine love for people, right? And I think for me, now we look back in hindsight and we go, well, duh, he was on the right side of history, because in hindsight, yes, we know that the Nazis were evil and wicked, and that what they were trying to do was awful. And all of us looking back at it would go, if I were in their shoes, I would have stood against injustice. Maybe you would have, maybe you wouldn't have. But point being, he did something brave. And imagine what it's like now. What it'd be like for him. He's probably, surely he's dead now. But what it would be like for him to hear someone be celebrated after he took the stand that he took when it wasn't popular, when it was dangerous. Imagine what it might feel like or sound like to him to see people be lauded for making a stand that he had already made. Imagine what it might feel like for Colin Kaepernick. In fact, probably does feel like for Colin Kaepernick, that the NFL now uses his image, uses his story to promote their efforts for social justice and social change. I imagine that probably feels a little strange, a little triggering. So I wanted to speak out on that thing for those of you that had questions about the article. And I encourage you to read it. You know, it is nuanced. There's all of these when you start talking about the messiness of these things, when you start talking about white supremacy and undoing white supremacy, I've said this before, I'll say it again. That is, white supremacy was designed to be this nemesis that it's very difficult to get rid of because it permeates everything. It is a part of everything. And here's where the rubber meets the road, right? When you are willing, because you know that it permeates everything, to be the person who says something about the instances of white supremacy that you see in your life where other people don't see it. I had a conversation not too long ago where I said, I said, this is also, I think we were talking about global warming or we were talking about climate change or something to that effect. We were talking about something and I said, that's also white supremacy. And they were like, we can't say that everything is white supremacy. And I said, yes, we absolutely can. And those are the kind of unpopular statements, right? When you have to be that person on an issue that, as Joe Lumen said on a couple podcasts ago, when she was talking about how, like, because she's the person who's outspoken and has something to say and is willing to critique the way things are in order to try and spark the creativity and imagination for what things could be. She said that when people see her in the grocery store, they literally run away. She's become that person. In many ways, I became that person. Some of you, to your family and friends, are that person, right? You're that person who sees it. Because once you see it, you can't unsee it. You're that person who sees it and has something to say about it, and people roll their eyes when they see you coming. Yeah, you get more of that than you get applause. And some of you are about to go into family situations because it's Christmas holiday, the holiday season. Not just Christmas, but the holiday season, I should say. And whether you go in person, which many of us won't with COVID, some of us will. We'll go see family, and you will be the outcast, or you will have some drama because of some of the stances that you've taken over this last year or last couple of years. You're that person in your family. You're that person in your friend group. I don't have a lot of encouragement for you other than to say, all of us have to accept the fact that we live in a time where to contend for better, to imagine that the world can be arranged in a way that's more equitable and more fair, means that you do make some adversaries. That's just part of it. You will make friends, but you will also make adversaries. Middle ground tends to allow you to save face with people because nobody really knows where you stand because you don't tell them. But once you make the announcement about where you stand on things, about like what you truly believe, about what you actually think, about opposing what you do believe to be wicked and evil, there will be people, family and friends, who decide that you are that person and they no longer want to associate with you. And, these kind of things are examples of that. When you're the kind of person who will share, instead of when you share your Christmas image, right, for this year, when you talk about those of you who are part of the Christian tradition, if you're not a part of the Christian tradition, feel free to cover your ears, tune out. But those of you who are part of the Christian tradition, when you share your Christmas image and it is not a white Jesus, if you dare go with a black Mary and a black Jesus, you will be more of that person. But I wonder if those kind of statements about the ability of groups of people to have the divine spirit moving through them, I wonder if that's not a better declaration of the hope of this time of year than just the status quo. I wonder if when we declare a Black baby Jesus, that we aren't making this statement about the power and the ability of people, despite what they've been through, to rise and stand with dignity and strength and power and divinity. Yeah. And of course, those kind of images, those kind of ideas, those kind of thoughts are a challenge to the status quo. The status quo, people are threatened when you are at the top, like I told you last week about Caesar, when you think that the world is actually supposed to revolve around you, and the world is actually supposed to bow down to you, your ethnicity, your people, your group, your whiteness. When you believe that, everything else is a threat. Things that have nothing to do with you, that's none of your business, becomes a threat to you. People who say, we don't want our bodies to continue to be the collateral damage of the advancement of whiteness, become a threat to you. Right? People literally just saying, stop killing us, becomes a threat to you. Well, folks, as we go, can't believe I got to 26 minutes. This is shocking to me. I didn't think I had 26 minutes worth of stuff to say. And maybe you don't think I did either. Let's continue to be the kind of people who threaten white supremacy. So whatever you can do, that's my last message to you in 2020, going into 2021, because there will be no Existential next week or the week after. No podcast, no Existential Sunday for the next 2 weeks. Whatever we can do in 2021 that continues to threaten white supremacy, let's do that. Let's keep doing that. The slightest, smallest image. If you think this is going to threaten white supremacy, do it, say it, post it. Be about that. Grace and peace to all of you. Until next year.